like our music, by the way?
I found it from some royalty-free bullshit. I don't know. I have a bunch of songs that I was trying to find, just like weird free stuff. And I don't even know if it's actually like super royalty-free, but I feel like if we're only using a couple of seconds of it and we're not getting paid for any of this, it should be fine.
Hopefully no one will know. I just like it. I think it's a good juxtaposition. Like
it sounds like a cell phone commercial.
No, but it's like so light and like fluffy, and I feel like a lot of what we talk about is not. So it seems more carefree than we are. Than perhaps we are.
It's more carefree than us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to the Dating Don't. You guys came back, or maybe you're here for the first time. Thanks for coming back if you heard that first one, because I think maybe we
apologize in advance for the first episode, I suppose.
Yeah, we did. I think we did a not great job trying to introduce ourselves, and perhaps a worse job introducing the project. So
I want to argue we did a fantastic job of introducing ourselves. However, I think after we had collated and edited it together, I got a couple of texts from you basically saying, like, we didn't talk about what we're doing at all, did we?
Yeah.
And I stopped and I thought, and I was like, no, maybe we didn't.
Not at all. Not at all.
So this is our episode 1A.
Yeah, the reintroduction, if you will. So I'm Isadora.
I'm Tristan.
And welcome back to the Dating Don't. So I guess if we're going to try and do this right, Tristan, because the project is sort of your fault.
My baby.
Your baby, your fault. Why this project? So why are we going on 5 first dates and doing these infamous 36 questions?
Okay, so let's roll back to February, sometime in early February, and I'm in a car going for lunch with my parents. This is important, not actually, but this is when it all came together. As most like shitty 20-somethings, I'm on my phone and I'm looking through a list of articles.
Oh my god, are you texting while you're driving? You're not driving.
I'm not driving.
Okay.
No.
Sorry.
I'm in the backseat. I'm basically a child in this conversation. I'm looking through my phone and I click on to that horrible New York Times article about the 36 questions to fall in love. And I read through it and I find it like kind of cute, if entirely insufferable. And I'm like, this is not the way any dating thing has ever worked for me. This is not the way any relationship has ever worked for me. Like meeting any people, going through these kind of weird questions. Like it's always been about time for me. It's always been about like getting to know someone and having those things kind of come about organically. So the idea of sitting down and the article itself, I forget who wrote the article, but it's based on, who's the scientist again?
Arthur Aaron. Arthur Aaron.
It's based on Arthur Aaron's study from the 80s, which was about, I guess, like engendering interpersonal intimacy.
Closeness, yeah.
Yeah, like almost artificially creating closeness by putting 2 strangers together and having them answer increasingly personal questions.
I think I'll just sort of interrupt for a second there because I know in that article, I think it's her last name's Cantron, I think.
She's from
Mandy
UBC,
Lynn. Yeah,
which is...
Mandy Lynn. I think a lot of when she talked about in her article, it was kind of like this study was about love. It was about trying to create love. And actually, if you read the original study,
it's not really what it's about.
It's not. And it's not even supposed to be about a lasting connection. The point of the study was really, can you make 2 complete strangers develop just a fleeting sense of closeness? And of course, it worked. And what they found was afterwards that only a few people maybe like met up with their partner like once or twice afterwards, and after a while people didn't care. So the intent of the study was, can you make someone feel close in a 45-minute setting? And they succeeded in that, but did it sort of develop any longer lasting thing? Like, no.
Yeah, and one of the problems is one of those few couples from that Arthur Aaron project,
they got married
and then it all fucked everything else up, because it's like, it works, it totally works, this is how you fall in love, is by asking questions with strangers. And it's like, that's probably just in like the statistical probability that it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
So yeah, that New York Times article ran with it and it got all viral, and it kind of, I don't know, I thought it was a little terrible. And so I'm sitting there,
being the jaded cynic that you are.
Yeah, and so I'm sitting there in the car reading this and I'm just like, this is dumb. This is not the way it works. And like I started running in my head like, what could I do with this? This seems like an interesting idea. So I thought, like, what if I did this with somebody? But what if I did this like a number of times? What if I went through like 5 or 6 interviews with different people and like trying to fall in love each time, and then sort of just seeing what happens with, I guess, like creating this closeness between myself and somebody else, trying to see if like anything came out of this. Like part of me, like there's always that deep kernel in the back of my head where I was like, maybe I will find someone.
Maybe it'll work.
Maybe this will actually work. Maybe I'll rom-com style, like have my eyes opened up and I don't know, find my true love.
Well, I like the idea of doing it more than once too, because everyone who's ever done it, including the writer of the New York Times, like they've only ever done it once with one person, and I think there's something special about doing it that one time and, you know, getting out your deep, dark secrets. But yeah, like what happens if you do it over and over and over? Like, does it become this banal, like, holy shit, I have to answer this fucking question again? Like, do you change your answers? Like, it sounds
like we're talking about sex right now. Like, you get this, I got this weird, like, yeah, it's really special if you just do it once, but just like all millennials, you're just doing it over and over again. It's just, oh God, it's just kind of boring now. Let's get through with this.
I don't know what kind of sex you're having, but all right.
Ups and downs.
So I like the sort of putting it to the test more than once, because is it the questions then?
Yeah, we're stress testing this project a little bit.
Stress being the key word.
Yeah, and then like the idea came to me while I was reading this stupid article, and initially I thought it was just going to be myself, just kind of going through these interviews, writing some stuff up about it, and just kind of turning it into some sort of gross diatribe about dating while millennial in general. And then I thought, like, just having my own perspective isn't really good enough. And so I thought, who do I know who likes to write and is a little bit certifiably insane? And
sad and alone all the time.
And then just perpetually sad and perpetually alone. So I sent you a text. I sent you a text at like 1 o'clock in the morning being like, I have a secret project. Are you in? And she's just like, I've never felt so much like a spy in my entire life or something like that.
I felt so cool. Yeah, it was pretty sad. I was like, oh my God, someone is like tapping me to join some sort of like secret society. I love this.
Yeah, you're getting into the Illuminati now. And so yeah, we met up. I kind of gave you the idea, and I'm pretty sure your words were like, "This is like the stupidest thing in the world, but fuck it, I'm in." Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I was hesitant, but at that point I was like, I guess I have nothing to lose. And like maybe I'll find my true love. Who knows, right? Like it could be a thing.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, what was your initial perception of this idea? Like when I presented it to you, because like it's kind of like it's been in my head, so like I've been kind of looking at it too closely the entire time. So like I've never had a moment being just like, is this the stupidest thing in the world?
Honestly, like I still think about it like to this day as to like why because I think I'm curious as to the doing it over and over and over again. Like I'm like you, I've got that sort of like really kind of jaded like. It can't just be this easy. It can't just be this thing. And like, for me, it was more like just doing the questions over and over again was more my like point of interest than really seeing whether or not it was going to, create love or whatever. And I can't really explain as to like why that was so interesting to me, but like, yeah, just what it was like to kind of just retell your story, repackage it, reframe it, rephrase it over and over and over again, but in a very
So that's the thing that I thought was going to be that I think is going to be really interesting for this entire project is like you tell all these stories once and then you have to, I guess, kind of like go through it all again. Like, does that change the tone of your story a bit? Like, are you just going to get better at telling your stories? Are your answers going to change over time? I don't know. Like, I'm interested in kind of seeing what the fifth interview meeting discussion is going to be like as compared to the first one.
Well, and it's funny because like as much as I think that this is such an inorganic thing is to just tell your story like this over and over and over again, in some way when you go on first dates all the time, you are still telling the same. It's just not happening in this like, and then I tell this story and then number 2 and then number 3. It's like
although I'm sure there are people that do that like specifically.
Perhaps there's maybe, but like
start with joke 2 and then you get into heartfelt story 4. And you just swing away at the end with my witty rejoinder at the end. Yep. That's how you date.
But I mean, every fucking like profile that you have to fill out, it's like this, it's the same questions, you're telling the same stuff. And I know that when I did my Tinder binge, like, I think it was like last summer, I think what was so exhausting was having to tell my story over and over and over again each time. Because after a while, I was like, fuck, I don't even care about these. Like, I don't want to have to explain myself again. And it's like, what do you do? And where are you from? And like, it was almost that got exhausting.
I totally understand that. Like, there's something really exciting about first dates. Like, something kind of meeting someone new, sort of that, like, initial spark of curiosity. But I totally understand where it's just, like, after going on a number of first dates, like, I think there was sometime over the summer last year, I went on, like, 6 or 7 over the course of a month. Yeah. And you're just like, I'm fucking tired of this. God damn it. To go back a step here, you're talking about how inorganic this entire project seems. Like, I agree with you. This all seems very artificial put together. But isn't that kind of what, like, online dating is in general? Isn't that kind of what, like, 21st century dating is in a nutshell? Like, OkCupid and Tinder, the things that I use a fair bit, like, they seem very, very artificial.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why I think my initial reaction is definitely like, oh, this seems very. And I think when I've sort of talked to a few people about the project, they seem like, oh, isn't it? It seems so. I can't speak. It seems so inorganic or so structured or so whatever. But I'm like, but in some ways, like that is how things function now. People go on activity first dates, which I've never understood. But it's like that means that
that's a second date. Activity second dates are great.
Some people go on like activity first dates, and that just means like what you talk about is structured around like that thing, and it's very like this is just a very, very structured, the most structured first date ever.
It doesn't I don't even know if it really is going to feel like a first date even, because like I'm just imagining it being just like a table in my apartment with like her and I like sitting in front of each other talking into microphones. Like that seems almost like a bit of like a weird buzzkill.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens.
Well, I mean, every time I've started talking to people and, you know, getting volunteers, which I think we discussed last time, and it's sort of like a safety thing for me, but people have to sort of like opt into different levels. So I don't advertise that this has to happen in my apartment for safety reasons.
I imagine that's going to be fun for me. I imagine like being like, by the way, person we've never met, I'm recording in my apartment alone, you and me. Come on in.
Come on over.
Yeah, ignore the chains. Just come hang out, I guess.
What's with the plastic on the floor? Don't worry. Don't pay attention to that.
I'm painting. With things.
Yeah, so the first things first is like, they're like, sure, I'll do it. And I'm like, that's really great. And, you know, we kind of go through the steps and I'm like, oh, and by the way, the last thing that you kind of have to agree to is to come over to my apartment because I have to record this and it can't, because everyone just sort of expects it's going to be like recorded on our cell phones or one of those little, I guess like journalist mini little recorder things,
like field recorders,
which of course, you know, they express the same horror that I think I expressed towards you because that's what I thought we would be doing. I thought we could just do this in a coffee shop.
No, audio like quality, y'all. We're doing this right.
Yeah, with like a little recording device, so it could be like quite intimate. And then basically Tristan was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like there's gonna be microphones and
I have all this shit. I have all this ridiculous shit. I'm gonna use it. God.
Yeah, so now people have to come over to my apartment and like sit down at my dining room table and sit in front of these microphones.
Whatever, and poor me. I have to schlep all this shit to your place.
I know, because I won't do it at your apartment.
Which is fine. Like I totally get that. That's totally fine. But like just like having to like put all of this equipment into like 2 backpacks essentially and bring it over to your fucking apartment.
Yep.
We all got troubles, y'all. We all got troubles.
It's yeah. So I think that pretty much.
That about sums it up. Like, this is a good little addendum to episode 1, I suppose. I feel like we've given a good idea for what we're actually doing.
Yeah, so basically there was an article that, you know, brought back an old study and made it really popular, and everyone was like, There was
an article that brought up my ire, and I was determined to prove it wrong. So here we are now.
So here we are, going on 5 first dates with those 36 questions and a recording device, and
determined to prove that love doesn't exist. I don't know.
We're going to prove, well, I don't know. We're just going to...
what's likely going to happen?
We're going to have a time.
We're going to have a time. What's likely going to happen is I'm sure, like, most of these dates will be fine. I'm sure most of them will be interesting. I'm sure we'll meet some cool people, and I'm sure there might be something from it. But, like, I don't expect to fall in love. I don't think you expect to fall in love.
Not so much.
I don't think you expect anything significant even to come of this. Like, worst case scenario, it's an interesting story, and maybe you get to meet a couple cool people.
Yeah.
Like, if that's what happens, I'll think this is a rousing success.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that if this comes out just being not negative, I'll be like, that'll be good. I'll be, you know.
All right, on that rousing note.
Yeah.
Go team.
Go team.
All right, this has been episode 1A, our addendum to our original episode. I'm Tristan.
I'm Isadora.
And this is The Dating Don't. We'll see you guys on our next full episode.
Or something, yeah.
Or you can go to thedatingdon't.com and you can read all of our stuff. We have plenty of stuff going up on there.
Yeah, thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah, signing off. I need like a signing off thing.
Whoops, no, we're not the jading cynics.
Cynics?
We're the jaded cynics signing off. We do need a better sign off, but
jaded cynics signing off. And this is where the music would play. Our horrible, awful, awesome.
I love our music. It makes me very happy.
It's not great music. Right here.